Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yes, we have. You can go ahead and um, you can view everybody in the space just so you get like a sense. We just went through like an amazing Reiki healing, so we're all
Okay.
buzzing with this energy. We sat through this beautiful meditation. I know you're just getting in the room, but we're all feeling high on life and also really connected. So we're excited to jump in with you here.
Sounds great. Yeah, thanks for having me. I can see that everyone is relaxed and coming out of that Reiki session. So we will be gent into a space of activation. As we do in the masculine, we'll be rooting into our energy, rooting into our power. So really the topic here is going to be around powerful heart-centered leadership. And when I say leadership, it's really first being our leaders for ourselves, and secondly for those who are in a relationship with, taking accountability, taking personal power, all of that. So before we jump in, I would like everyone who feels comfortable to turn your camera on. We are going to have some interaction in this class. We will also be jumping into breakout rooms about halfway through. So anyone who would like to participate in the breakout rooms, I'd like you to turn your cameras on, and then we'll go from there. I'll give everyone a couple minutes. Great. So a little bit about me before we jump in. So I am a men's coach, men's leadership coach in here in Tulum, and I run virtual programs, and I've led some men's circles in San Diego as well. And I came to this place through a journey of mine recovering from a chronic illness. I was someone who worked in the corporate world in finance and hedge funds and management consulting. And about 3 years ago, I ended up falling sick due to the high stress nature, just being thrown around, working 80 hours a week. And I was in bed for about 8 months and really went on a long journey to recovery, which included a lot of tapping into my inner state, understanding exactly, making that connection between my mind, my emotions, my physical body, my nervous system, and being able to heal myself by actually healing my masculine, where it had been stepped on, where it had been hidden, where it had been pushed away, and by healing my feminine as well through self-realization. So in the process, not only did this process of jumping into masculine leadership help a lot with my physical symptoms, but it also ended up going a long way with just how I showed up for myself and the people around me in the world. I used to be someone in my relationships who couldn't really speak my truth of the moment, the emotions that were coming up, couldn't really understand them, couldn't really speak them. And that was just my wounded masculine. So something that a lot of this inner realization work did was just being able to really own myself, own my truth of the moment, and speak my truth of the moment, so people around me really know where they stand and really know where I am in relation to them. And in doing so, teaching a lot around what I like to call leadership to many men here in Tulum and around the world, and through my men's groups. And leadership to me is just taking accountability for your external environment, not being thrown by the chaos, not being affected or led by what's going on outside, but actually creating your external world by your inner knowing, your inner wisdom, your inner truth. So when I speak to masculine and feminine here in this for the next hour, the masculine will be speaking to everyone here, man or woman, your inner masculine, your inner leadership, your inner structure, direction, and the feminine will be your inner receptivity, inner surrender, heart, emotional expression, and so on and so forth. So a lot of what I believe we as individuals in relationships and even just society as a whole today needs healing in is healing from the division, the rampant division that's going on. You know, there's a lot of division in our relationships. You see divorce rates, infidelity rates higher than ever. You see a lot of socioeconomic division between people who are wealthy, people who are trying to get by. And we're seeing a lot of racial, cultural division as well between, you know, cultures, genders, classes, all of it. And these divisions have led, in my mind, to have three real effects on us as humans. Obviously, there's a lot of effects, but the three main ones I've seen is you're seeing a lot of people suffering from a lot of stress, burnout, you know, lifestyle related illnesses from stressing out all the time. You're seeing people suffering from being disempowered, you know, and we're seeing this during COVID right now is people are feeling like they don't have the power over their own lives, their own jobs, their own careers, and now even where you can be in the world, you know, if you choose to not have that power, of course. And the third is the over intellectualization of our society. And this shows up in relationships a lot too. We're arguing, problem solving, analyzing, speaking to death without actually fully feeling what is going on. And, you know, what we're really missing in our relationships, in our workplaces, in our society is actually space for that feminine, for the deep feeling, for the crazy emotions, for whatever comes up to come up and to feel into truths rather than always problem solve and think them through. So, you know, these things, these divisions have led many people right now to be dissatisfied in their work lives and in their relations, their intimate relationships. And I believe what is causing these divisions is a lack of leadership, a lack of powerful, heart-driven leadership. People who are not connected to their inner king, their inner knowing, their inner rootedness, and constantly being thrown off by external factors, other people, other leaders, what society's telling them, what the news is telling them. So when I speak to leadership, I'm speaking to creating your life and your reality inside out instead of outside in, creating such a rooted knowing of who you are, what you desire, what your boundaries are, who you want to be around, the connection you desire, and then going and getting that rather than just being in flow, taking what comes and then feeling like we're lost in the chaos from it. So specifically around relationships, when we talk about leadership is, you know, relationships are a give and take, right? They are flow, they are magical, they are sparks, they are chaos, they're all of that beautiful feminine stuff on the most part. But longer term relationships cannot survive without masculine qualities of self-sovereignty, self-empowerment, you know, speaking boundaries. And that's how I define leadership in relationships. And that accountability has to happen with both or all parties involved. So the imbalance of masculine and feminine, when we fall in love, get lost in love, you know, it's a beautiful feeling in ways, but, you know, there's areas of, I mean, whoever wants to fall or get lost in anything in life, right? You don't want to fall off the cliff, you want to jump off the cliff. So really getting our sense of self and our ownership in our relationships is so important. You know, by opening our hearts and owning our power, we can create healthier, more passionate, more stable relationships. And taking ownership of our part in our relationships, taking ownership of our desires, like I said, taking ownership of our boundaries, taking ownership of our communication, our ability to communicate, whether it's the fun stuff or the difficult stuff. And it takes us a sense of knowing those things before we can actually share them or communicate them with others. You know, I believe that a lot of these divisions that I mentioned that show up right now in our society, show up in our relationships, are because we have a lot of divisions within ourselves at this point in time. it's really, really difficult to have a strong sense of self. There's a lot of things working against us. You know, we have firstly technology constantly in our heads, in our heads, in our heads. We're looking at things, we're watching things, we're analyzing things, completely severing us from our body, from having space to just be with ourselves. You know, for those who have a strong meditation practice, I'm sure you're able to set some boundaries around that. But it's so easy, even for those who do the work, to get sucked into all the information coming in and through our technology. And not only does that put us in mental loops and really mentalize us, but it also really gets us responding to the external environment and not coming from our inner state. And, you know, so technology is one. Another is even with the beautiful, amazing rise of feminism. You know, there's a lot of roles shifting, and, you know, they meant one thing 30 years ago, another thing 15 years ago, another thing now. And as men, women, all genders involved, we are figuring out how to show up between our biological nature, between now, and regardless of where we fit in on that spectrum, it can lead to some confusion. It can lead to a lack of a sense of self unless we have full clarity on that. In the same way, and all these different, but with that globalization and integration comes people who had long-standing ideals of what it was to be their own person, to be their own woman, to be their own man, passed on from generations, now being questioned, now being told that there's different ways to do things. So it can be extra difficult to find that inner unity, that inner realization of self. So I believe that there's 3 areas where we can start to work to bring that sense of self, to bring inner alignment and inner unity. And the first is through alignment of our mind, our hearts, our emotional center, nervous system, and physical body. Really through meditation, through breath work, through just spending time with ourselves to just feel what's going on the inside. Closing our eyes, not trying to create or be anything we're not, but just really feeling into what is coming up for us, and feeling the different textures of what is coming up for us. Is this coming from a product of the mind for a movie or some news piece that I saw this week? Or is this coming from my inner knowing? There's always different textures to thoughts that come from the inner knowing. Another thing is integrating our masculine and feminine. And that's really, really a strong intention here, is to be able to balance, and not even balance, the word is access both sides of ourselves. Access our most divine and healthy masculine, access our most divine and healthy feminine. And when I say that, I mean, for masculine, being able to, when we need to, live by truth, make quick decisions, be very conscious to the environment around us. And by harnessing our inner feminine, that's being tapped into our inner emotions, our inner feelings, our inner flow, surrendering to the moment, expressing ourselves fully. So really, I think right now, for those like everyone here who's doing the extra work to be the best version of ourselves, to show up the best way we can authentically and show up authentically in the world, is really, really being able to tap into both polarities of our masculine and our feminine, so we can choose which parts of ourselves we want to bring up to certain situations. And then the third piece is matching our inner state with our outer state. You know, that you would think would be really easy. Be yourself, right? Everyone has told you, be yourself. Probably one of the hardest things to do, because like what is our self, right? It's some of it we were born with. Some of it are the news is brainwashing us, our immediate community. Really, really, when I talk about closing our eyes, spending a lot of time with ourselves, clearing the things that come from our journey and being able to tap into our true natures, being able to integrate our shadows, the parts of ourselves that we are afraid of, that everyone has told us made us wrong for, the part that we feel make us weird or crazy, integrating those and being part of those, owning that is leadership. As well as the ideal self of who we want to be, putting all of those things together, our true nature, our shadows, and our ideal self, and expressing it consistently and authentically, not trying to get an outcome, not caring about how it's going to be received, but truly, truly operating from our sense of truth. And I can tell you how relaxing that can be when we're not constantly trying to shape shift our way to our environment or to other people. That's one of the most ultimate forms of relaxation I've found, is to just consistently be you and let people align around that. So alignment of self in these three ways, physiologically, like I said, mind, body, nervous system, emotions, masculine and feminine, as well as our inner and outer expression. When we can learn to align those things, we can tap into our inner king, because we're not allowing the chaos to dictate how we rule our kingdom. We are allowing our truth, our beliefs, our love of people, our love of growth to dictate how we lead and how we show up in the world. So for the purpose of the exercises that we're about to jump into, I'm going to simplify all of these different variables we just spoke of into two polarities: power and heart. And to me, the king is able to tap into both of those things. Obviously, in order to lead, in order to work against the forces that are against us, we need to be rooted in our power and convicted in it. But if we're ruling just for the sake of ruling, that's how conquest started. That's how wars started. That's how imbalanced, greedy businesses are happening. We want to not just be powerful to be powerful, but we want to be powerful because it's coming from a heart-driven place, because it's coming from a place that elevates those around us, who trust us, who follow our leadership. And we're willing to do what's right because we believe it's right for everyone involved, not because it advances our goals or advances our motivations. Our motivations, we definitely want to be intrinsically motivated, but we want to be intrinsically motivated in a way that thinks about the kingdom, right? Thinks about everybody involved. So we're going to be jumping into some practices to stay still amongst the chaos, tapping into our inner king. How can we not be thrown to the side? How can we not be pulled away, pushed away by external factors, by stress, by tension, by all these things that make us play smaller and make us disassociate from our truth, our body, ourselves? So I'm going to give everybody a minute to find a position where you have a little bit of space. You want space to put your arms up to the side. For anyone who has your cameras off, I advise you to turn your cameras on at this point. So finding a posture, relaxing into your chair, that's activating yet relaxing. Sitting down, rooting your lower body into the chair, into the ground. For anyone who's moving around, standing, eating, take a moment to find some stillness. This will just be about 10 minutes. So finding a posture where your spine is straight, head pulled up, allowing your shoulders to roll back, chest and belly to fall as they normally would. Rooting your lower half of your body into your chair, into the ground. Really feeling into your lower body. What do you feel there? Noticing the solidness of your lower body, the strength, the unwavering, unchanging part of you in your lower body. It's the part of you that's rooted, that's safe, that's secure, that's conscious and present, no matter what happens in the external world. Take a moment to feel to the rootedness and strength of your lower body. Now, if anyone's eyes are closed, opening up your eyes and lifting your arms up to a 60-degree angle. You're going to be doing the breath of fire. So big, deep inhale. And on the exhale, force an exhale out your nose with your mouth closed. Allowing your inhale to fall as it naturally would, but really pushing your exhale out. Tucking your belly to your spine as you exhale. Staying upright, staying straight as you continue this practice. And noticing where we're holding any tension, noticing where we're tensing up or constricting, and seeing where we can bring openness to our body. This is the new paradigm in masculinity. Where do we constrict? Where do we tighten? Where do we force? And instead, where can we open? Where can we bring lightness? Where can we bring ease? Continuing a consistent cadence of the breath while keeping our body, our arms open. Continuously checking in with our inner state, with our shoulders, our back, our legs, maybe our bellies, inside our bellies, and noticing where we want to stop, where we want to collapse, and gently and kindly saying, I can persevere, and staying open. 30 more seconds. If your arms are falling, bring them back up to a 60-degree angle. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Another 30 seconds. Stay on. Sometimes life throws curveballs at us. How can you weather the storm? How can you weather the chaos, the unexpected, by staying open? Bring lightness in your shoulders, your back, your arms, your body. Ten more seconds. Staying light, staying open, staying free. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Arms up, big inhale. Exhaling, slowly allowing our arms down, slow as possible. Feeling into our arms as we lower them down. Bringing our hands on our laps and closing our eyes if they're open. Feeling into our bodies, feeling into the activation we just had after the relaxation we were feeling from our Reiki sessions. Do you notice tension, difficulty, stress from having to hold your arms up? Or do you notice a sense of ease from training your nervous system to stay open and free through the practice? Bringing all our awareness into our body, into our torso and our legs, feeling whatever is present. Do you notice tingling, electricity in your body? Notice relaxation, openness, whatever's present, just feeling into our bodies. Feeling into the chaos we experience, going from a relaxed state to a very activated state. Where else in our life do we experience such chaos, where we're forced to push, where we're forced to persevere, power through discomfort? As we continue to feel into our body, think about some other aspects of our lives in which we allow external forces to dictate our actions. Just think about one. Feeling into our body, what is the one thing that comes up? Or maybe we've allowed ourselves to escape what's best for our highest self. Maybe we don't live by a truth. Maybe we don't get a desire met. Maybe we don't set a boundary and allow ourselves to be harmed by something or someone else. What is one area where we allow the chaos to get the best of us instead of being rooted through it? Now, getting away from the mind, feel into who have I been? Who have I been to allow this? Now, bringing our awareness back to our lower body, to our steadiness, our strength, our inner king, feeling into the energy of what we want to be. How do we want to feel rooted, to feel strong, to feel powerful and convicted in our truth, getting our desires met, and setting boundaries for people who may disrespect us? What would it feel like to be rooted, unchanging, directional, purpose driven on our path? And if we were that way, what actions would we take? What habits would we form? How would we lead? Make a sentence declaration to yourself right now. One sentence. In my inner rooted king, what habits or actions would I take that are different than I would if I allowed external forces to dictate me? Just one clear sentence to yourself. Now feeling into what would your life look like if you consistently operated from this place where all your energy was within yourself, unaffected by the outside, where you spoke and acted and led based on your inner knowing and your inner truth. The actions that you declare you'll take, the habits that you'll declare you'll form. What's the illustration of that? What would your life look like? What would your successes and your joys and your passions look like? Just visualize it without needing to put a lot of words to it. And whenever you're ready, beginning to come back to your body, come back to the space, wiggling your hands, rotating your neck, maybe stomping your feet on the ground. Whenever you're ready, fluttering open your eyes. Take a moment to just be with yourself. So in a moment, we will be going into breakout rooms. We will be sharing our experience from the practice, and we will be making some declarations of how we're going to hold our inner king, how we're going to hold our energy within so we can protect, lead, and show up directionally as the person, the woman or man that we want to be. So we will be guiding everyone through 5 prompts. And once again, before I go into the prompts, we will really need everyone to have anyone who wants to participate in the breakout rooms will need to have their camera on. Anyone with their camera on will be paired up. So please, please, please have your camera on for this practice. So as you can see, some of the prompts have been put there. Randall, if you can put there's one more, the top one, declare what aspect of your life you have lost your inner knowingness. So we'll be going through 5 prompts. We'll have a partner A and partner B. As soon as we get into the breakout rooms, I'd like you to decide who is partner A and who is partner B. So as you can see, there will be 5 prompts here. And with the amount of time we have, the intention here is not to break into story. The intention here is not to tell the whole story and ramble, but it's a very masculine quality to make declarations, to speak with power in our words, with succinct brevity, and with a lot of meaning behind our words. So for each prompt, I would like everyone to just speak 1 to 2 sentences, responses for each prompt. You can take 10, 15 seconds to feel into what those words are. But powerfully declare your answers in 1 or 2 sentences. Partner A will get 1 minute for the first prompt. Then we'll be sending out the second prompt, 1 minute, third prompt, 1 minute, and then partner B will reflect back for the 4th and 5th prompt. And then we're going to switch roles. So the first prompt is declaring what aspect of your life you have potentially lost your inner knowingness or been sidetracked from your divine direction, preventing you from achieving your purpose, meeting your desires, or being who you want to be. So where have you been sidetracked from your inner strength, your inner knowingness? 1 or 2 sentence declaration. The second is declaring what habits or actions you will take to better align with your authentic self, your purpose, your deeper desires. And, you know, we felt into this in the meditation practice. This is declaring in 1 or 2 sentences some of the things that came up in the practice. The third is illustrating what this life would look like for you. What would the joy, the accomplishment, the happiness, what would your life look like, feel like in 1 or 2 sentences if you had these rooted, direct habits and actions that you consistently took? Then for the 4th prompt, partner B is going to reflect back exactly what partner A said. You don't need to bring your opinion here. Reflect back in this prompt, you will A, B, and C, so you can X, Y, and Z. You will reflect back the actions that partner A declared so they can hear it for themselves, what they're declaring. And then the 5th prompt will be authentically reflecting back what you see, the power and the heart you see in partner A. So yes, Narissa. So we'll go partner A as the person with longer hair, partner B as the person with shorter hair. Does anybody have any questions before we jump into breakout rooms? Okay, let's go into the breakout rooms. Everybody, again, 1 to 2 clear, concise sentence declarations.
Okay, we're gonna pause the recording during this little section here.
In their partner practice around a way where some habits you can create, some direction you can create in your life and structure to be more rooted in your truth, your true self. Anyone open to sharing something that may have come up in your discussion?
So I had an interesting way of seeing what my desire was being reflected back to me from my partner, Azuro. But I think that's why, like, this is cool, like hearing the reflection. It's like, whoa, like what? Did I say that? But like my commitment is to put more time into my art, and through the reflection, like I had been having so much anxiety around it because I know it takes a long time. Like my painting sessions will take like minimum 3 hours because of like setup and then getting into it and then cleaning up. And so anyway, long story short, like when he reflected back that my desire was to make art in the morning, which was what I had been really wanting and pushing myself to do, I realized that making art in the morning doesn't necessarily have to be painting. It could be a different form of art. And I have this book that's been in my hard drive for like 9 months now. And even through the meditation that we did earlier, that came up. And so I'm gonna finish it. Like that is my, I'm gonna finish the book. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Narissa. Anybody else have anything would like to share? What came up in your meditation and partner discussion? Okay, does anyone have any questions on masculinity or the inner king as we wrap up here? Azura.
Yeah, was going back to the question before. I was a little bit slow tonight. It was very interesting that I really visioned like my kingdom. My part was like the place I work, where my part of the company, having this as my kingdom, being the ruler of my kingdom, taking charge of what's happening there, what's going in, what's getting out. I'm a dispatcher. There's lots of things coming in and going out, and seeing this as my kingdom, my job as my kingdom, and making the rules, like also for the people I have to deal with and I deal with. So that's so much more than just, okay, I go to work and that's my place where I sit. I think that could be really powerful if people see their job as their kingdom, especially like if they have like real place where this is my office or whatever, that's my kingdom and that's where I make the rules. And of course there's teamwork, but if you see it like more like a kingdom, it's really helping me. So thank you so much for doing this and having a really great workshop.
Absolutely. Thank you, Azura. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And again, you know, we can take the ownership of being the leader of the kingdom while creating a kingdom that we want to live in. So that doesn't mean we own everything and we push other people to the side, but we're king amongst other kings, right? And I love that you put that, to your real life work life. So thank you for that.
Beautiful. All right, so we are getting to the end of this session, and I would love for us all to take ourselves off of mute and rub our palms together, generating energy, and give Karl a big ashtahey. Thank you, thank you.
Hey.
Ashtahey!
Thank you, Karl.
Woo-woo.
Thank you, everybody.
Karl is one of our master coaches for the Metamorphosis Master. Yes, woo-woo. So you guys got to hear Rhea earlier today, Karl, and then actually the Love Gurus who are up next, they are also our master coaches for the Metamorphosis Mastermind. So I know a few of you went through that. Narissa, I know that you went through that. Em, I know that you went through that. And so Karl is, he helps us embody our inner king, and the Love Gurus help us embody wholeness. And so today they're going to give you a taste of what they do. The Love Gurus are some of the best relationship coaches that I think that I've ever come across in my entire life. Like literally, I'm not just saying that. They are so, 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 so good. And I'm really excited